Hi, my name is Debra R. Richardson of Debra R. Richardson LLC, and I work with you to help you clean up your vendor data, clean up your vendor processes so that you pay the right vendor. Now, this week's Vendor Master File tip of the week is the confirmation phone calls for vendor bank changes are failing, and the city of Portland lost $1.4 million even though they did make that confirmation. So let's talk about why these confirmation phone calls are failing. Now, the city of Portland was a very recent example. I will put a link to the article. And this happened in April 25th of this year. But I've had numerous clients that have made that confirmation phone call and they still either sent a fraudulent payment or almost made a fraudulent payment. And there are three basic reasons why. The first one is that these confirmation phone calls are just not being done, right? The team members get frustrated. They may contact them the first time, the vendors don't pick up. They call them again, they don't pick up again. They're being told not to leave a voicemail. And so they're continuing to call these vendors that are not picking up. And so they just give up, right? They're not being measured on that productivity. They're being measured on other productivity. So they just give up and they don't do it. The second reason is that maybe they are doing it, but they're using bad contact information. In this example with the city of Portland, they actually used the contact information that was in the email. Now, it wasn't clear. They didn't indicate if there was no contact information that existed in the accounting system or ERP on the vendor record, or if they tried but were not able to get contact information from, say, their website. But that's not always something that is available. Some of these smaller vendors do not have a website presence. And so if you don't have their confirmation or contact information in the accounting system or ERP, then you just don't have it. So that's another reason why. And that's actually what happened in this case. And then the confirmation itself, when they do reach the vendor, is just not valid because they're not including authenticating data, and they are also revealing the banking information within that confirmation. And I'll have something that comes up a little bit later to help you with that. So these are some of the reasons why the confirmation phone calls are failing. Now, the city of Portland, again, found out the hard way. They lost 1.4 million, and two reasons. Already talked about the first one. The confirmation phone call was made to the fraudster and not to the vendor. That's because the email address or the email account of the vendor's point of contact that requested payment, that email was hacked. The next one is the confirmation phone call to confirm the vendor received the funds. So after you send the funds, especially if it's a large amount, I do recommend, and other folks have this as a best practice internal control, that you contact the vendor to verify they received the funds. That way, if they say they haven't, then you still have time to recover them. So that was requested, and it wasn't clear in the article if it was done and it was just not successful or if it just was not done. But in any event, there was no confirmation that the funds were received, but no additional action was taken. So that is something that was clearly missed, that they could have, instead of finding out a month later when the fraudster tried to get more funds, they could have found out had they taken additional action when the confirmation that the vendor received the funds was not successful. All right, so I talked about confirmations, and I've talked about them actually quite often in the past month or so. And so this video about another Vendor Master File Tip of the Week published in July is that vendor confirmation for a bank change valid. That will come up right after this one, which will offer some additional recommendations for making it valid. All right, so if you'd like more information on how to improve your vendor process, please go to my website at debrarrichardson.com for free tools and resources to avoid fraud, regulatory fines, and just overall bad vendor data. So good luck, and be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell to be notified next Tuesday for the next Vendor Master File tip of the week.